Welcome back.
Yeah, here we go.
Last day for brain energy. We actually have 2 chapters left, but the final chapter is literally like 2 pages. It's almost like just a closing out, a call to action, if you will. So what chapter is it? 20?
20. Putting it all together.
Putting it all together. I'd like to open with the quote at the top.
Yeah.
I thought that was really kind of cool.
I think it pretty much sums up the book.
Yeah. When a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. Alexander de Fritz.
The Fritz.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but
Right.
no, kind of a cool quote. So, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was good. It's a very elementary closing. I don't mean that in a negative way at all. He goes through, where to start, that you really shouldn't, go this alone, especially if you start to take yourself off of medications. You shouldn't go this alone, readdresses how important gut biome is.
So he's talking about how you can develop your own metabolic treatment plan, right? And so the book covered, among others, the metabolism and the mitochondria are affected by diet, exercise, stress, light, sleep, hormones, inflammation, relationships, love, meaning and purpose in life, as well as some genetic factors, right? And so it's kind of he's one of the parts I thought was interesting, and I feel like I highlighted it. Am I getting ahead of myself?
No.
Was that you can focus on starting to attack these things and making sure that each one is as healthy or positive as it can be. He recommends against trying to tackle too much at one time.
There's that. And, I think that's what I found interesting as well, is that if you go to a doctor and you expect them to tackle this for you, you're going to be very disappointed in the results.
Yeah.
Because there are so many variables that your doctor is not going to keep up with your daily nutrition. They're not going to keep up with your mood swings and all of the different factors. It's like keeping a nutrition log.
Right.
Like, how did I feel today? Okay, well, what did I eat the day before? I mean, it's,
right.
What kind of people interacted with me? So there's just, did I get sleep? Did I get out in the sun? Did I, it's just a lot to it. And that's what I kind of got. I'm like, man, there's a lot of factors that go into, depression and anxiety and mental disorders. There's just a lot of factors in.
Yeah, he talked about, picking one thing and trying to improve upon it. He mentioned that when you pick something, he called it a SMART goal. Once you choose it, set a goal and make it a SMART goal. And SMART meaning specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And then he comments that, sometimes some people will be able to pick one. Other people, it's glaringly obvious that if you're in a severely abusive relationship and you have depression, trying to tackle the depression without addressing the relationship, you're not going to get any traction over there. So that was kind of cool, kind of made sense.
Yeah. I know he goes through initiation, the adaptation, the maintenance, and the withdrawal. He starts talking about the initiation phase of things, that sometimes things get worse before they get better. That's especially true in medication, maybe trying to find the right dosage, maybe trying to wean off of dosage.
Yeah.
Trying to find that right area, and then things change as well, right? So yeah,
yeah, and the last one, withdrawal. We all are familiar with that, either in something we've battled. I would say, and maybe withdrawal isn't the technical symptom, but simply most people have tried to diet in some way or another.
Sure.
And when you're sitting at your desk and you're telling yourself, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat that. And your body's going, eat it, eat it.
Funny, I watched a thread. They talked about sugar, and a doctor was talking about removing yourself off of sugar for 2 weeks and watch the change. And people were like, I could never do that. And I tried doing that for 3 days, and it almost killed me. And you're like,
oh, man,
I mean, it's withdrawal. I mean, it doesn't have to be drugs, I guess is what I'm getting at. It can be food withdrawal.
Yeah. We have a friend that my wife consults with her, and that's what we hear. It's too hard. And it's like, I want to grab people sometimes, right? Because we live, I was actually doing some reading on this, $34,000 in annual income puts you in the top 1 percentile of the globe, right? We live such a privileged life in this country. We have no idea what suffrage is. The idea that I can't put down my ho-hos for 3 days.
Well, you mentioned, it's hard, but so is obesity. Obesity is very hard, which so is insulin resistance.
Yes.
So is lots of medical bills. So, choose your heart.
Pick your poison. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does talk about like inpatient and residential treatment programs, and that's possibly going to be suitable for some people. The designing your treatment plan here, I didn't get much out of it other than what the chapter had already kind of spoke to. I don't know if he intended to summarize in this, but it was really more just kind of a summary of what he had already been talking about.
And he goes into the story at the end, the success story, Beth, and how, it took years. It took years for her she had ADHD, she was cutter.
Yeah.
She did all these, suicidal. She had all these issues.
Was it 5 different meds, I think?
Figured out she was over-medicated. They eventually took her off all of it, but it took years.
Years to wean her off, yeah. Because every time they would slightly lower the dosage in one, she would have episodes. Yeah. Yeah. Was the medicine helping? Was it hurting? A little of both. But go ahead and continue the story with Beth. I'm sure her name's really Beth.
There's not much to it. It basically just says that, she, 10 years later, she was feeling great. Her father came to the doctor and said, hey, she's doing great, and he saved her life. And it was just,
Yeah. He does say, I highlighted one spot, that Beth's case illustrates the common problem of having multiple diagnoses, getting lots of treatments, and still not doing well.
Well,
I think that overlaps more than just mental health.
Yeah, we talk about it in business, right? How you operate in information silos all the time. Mm-hmm. And you go see one doctor for depression, and you're going to see another doctor for obesity, and they put you on diabetic drugs. And
statins are the great, right? You get on a statin
and you get depressed.
And next thing you know, your wanker doesn't work anymore. Right? And now you're calling up 4hims.com to improve that.
Right. So that's a great example. But I mean, in the mental world, again, a lot of those statins have adverse side effects as well. I mean, depression and everything else, right? So you can't operate in information silos. I think that's where we've gone wrong with medicine. We've gone into such specialties in the medicine world, and every doctor, in order to make a living, is a specialist, that we no longer have the family practitioner, which is the quarterback.
Yeah. And I know there's some people that I've consulted, whatever you want to call it. The doctors don't talk. They don't look at her chart. They don't
talk to each other.
They don't ask for, I think in the hospital, they generally ask for your medication list, right? But Now, specifically in this example, I know that multiple doctors prescribing different things that all are interacting. Anyways, so chapter 21 is the closing chapter if you're a guy like me who does not read the footnotes and the acknowledgments and the,
right.
I rarely read the introduction to a book. Kind of go straight to chapter 1. But if the introduction was so important, it'd be the first chapter. Yeah. So chapter 21, titled A New Day for Mental and Metabolic Health, basically not self-aggrandizing, but praising the research that's been done around metabolism, mitochondria, and that it may be the brain energy, and that it may be the common pathway. He does, have a call to action that, I got to be honest, I was like, no, that's not the way.
Right.
But he says we need big changes. And he said it's not only going to be the physician, the nurses, the psychotherapists, the social workers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But health insurance is going to have to be involved, and the biotech and pharmaceutical industries are going to have to be involved, and government's going to have to be involved. And I hear those things, and I'm like, no,
right?
That is no way to fix any problem.
Better,
I know
better getting the stars aligned tomorrow.
Right. I know what he's doing, but
it is. But I mean, there's you got too many independent pocketbooks that are affected by solving some of these issues, really,
or not solving.
I would say it the other way. Right. I would say it the other way. Take this into your own hands and find a good family doctor that you can trust, or a general practitioner that you can trust, and what
do you call a D? What's a DO? MD.
Right.
But so he final section, I call on you and ask for your help. It will require a grassroots movement similar to the movements that happen around HIV and AIDS and breast cancer, etc. His website, brainenergy.com. Man, maybe just in closing, I'll tell you that I enjoyed the book, and I think he's really on to something. It was a little, I don't want to say difficult to read at times, but kind of like I've already heard this.
Mm-hmm.
But he's obviously very passionate about this research. And I follow him on Twitter. Real good dude. We appreciate you, Doc Chris.
Yeah, I think you did a good job. I think overall, like you said, I think it could have been a little more direct, and we like to get to the point pretty quickly. But I think he outlined in hindsight, he really had to lay the groundwork a little more for maybe someone who hasn't done as much research as you and I have.
Yeah.
But now you start to really understand, all right, a lot of things got to happen in the brain. They're going to affect the rest of the body.
Well, and it definitely aligns with, I think, what you and I believe is we were made by a divine creator that gave us perfection. And my opinion is that we've done nothing but
screw it up.
Looking for pharmaceutical solutions, cheap foods.
What's next, man? What are we gonna do?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. I know you talked about maybe looking into IV hydration, and
I think it'd be
what that's all about.
There's a lot of talk about that, and
let's either find a book or lay out what we want to talk about.
All right, sounds good.
Questions, comments, concerns, hit us at snackcast@yes.fit.
Stay moving.
See ya. Thank you, Dr. Chris Palmer.